Saturday sun, I met someone. An Adrienette, Miraculous Ladybug, high school alternate universe fanfiction, chapter 9. They've bonded. That has to be the only explanation. After he told her about some very private details, they've gotten so much closer in such a short amount of time. It makes Marinette both so excited that he's talking to her so much, and at the same time, so freaking nervous. Slowly but surely, though, she's getting over the nervousness and acting like a normal person around him more and more. Which is unfortunate that she has to build to that, but hey, that's life. That's what life is like for her. I think I have a terrible idea, Adrian announces to her, putting down his lunch tray. Marinette stares at him blankly for a second. I kinda like it though. Nino is grinning like a madman and no doubt about to encourage Adrian in as terrible as an idea as possible. Why don't you explain the idea to us first? Marinette says pointedly, but with laughter in her eyes. She takes a bite of her sandwich. Adrian looks at her and sighs. But then you'll try to stop me. I think I'll only try and stop you if it's really necessary. Like if you're planning to wear a superhero suit you bought from the internet and then run around the city and climb trees and hide in parks shouting to people that you're gonna save their lives, all while grabbing children from slides just to save them, then yeah, maybe I'll try to stop you from doing that. But if you're just gonna have a wrestling match with Kim, then your death is on yourself, my friend. Both Nino and Adrian stares at her with comically wide eyes. Marinette stares at them dully while eating the last of her yogurt. What on earth is going on inside of your head to make you think of that specific and that weird of an example? Nino deadpans. Marinette only shrugs in reply. Technically, she didn't really make it up. A while back, she saw a strange headline on an article, and 3 clicks later, she got the story. Albeit, it was very odd. Well, my idea is definitely not that bad, Adrian cuts in awkwardly. I was just gonna say, I think I'm gonna join the new weightlifting competition they have as a fundraiser, he admits, biting down on the carrot stick he had in his lunch. Marinette looks at him with raised eyebrows, silently saying, Are you being absolutely serious right now? He nods in confirmation and she can't help but burst out laughing. He knows she doesn't mean it in a mean way, so she doesn't even bother to say sorry. It almost makes her giddy with joy to know that he knows her that well. You? Lifting, she says with an amused look on her face. She can only imagine what that image would look like in real life, not just in her incredibly warped imagination where he gets crushed on the first try. Sure, Adrian is athletic and decently strong, but he's no lifter. He's agile and lean. That's perfect for fencing, where he has to dodge in a split of a second, but not for lifting, where you want as much muscle and mass as possible to hold that heavy weight steady above your head so it doesn't kill you. Why on earth do you want to do that? Maybe you should just leave it to Ivan, Nino says. Or better yet, just have Ivan train you so you don't die even if you're so adamant on signing up, Marinette points out. Adrian sends her a little smile, clearly appreciating how even though she knows it's a bad idea, she's still going to support him and ensure that he doesn't die at age 17. She'd like to believe it's the little things like this that counts, making sure your friend/crush doesn't die before you can get them to like you back. Or, just don't die because you'll then miss them a lot. I'll maybe go for that offer, but I just think it'd be a fun challenge. I've never done anything like lifting before. What if I enjoy it? Adrian explains. Marinette nods. Fair enough. You can enjoy something even if you're not winning first place trophies from it, she agrees. Just promise me you do the training. Adrian looks at her with a look that tells her that he's offended that she even asked. You know me better than to think You know me better than to think I wouldn't. And yeah, she kinda does. One other thing Marinette didn't anticipate was how often Adrian would call or text her. Of course, she didn't mind it, not at all. But it wasn't something she had been prepared for. However, it ends up being some of the best parts of her day. He's hilarious, really. Like a confused kitten roaming the halls of high school sometimes. Adrian's obviously not trying to be oblivious and innocent to the world of high school around him, but he just so happens to know nothing about it and thus texts her in the most perplexed manners that have her in stitches. Why does everyone keep checking down their shirts? It's so odd. Of course, Adrienette would be the one kid who follows the no phones in class rule. Marinette can even admit that she breaks it at times because, well, she's no angel all of the time. It's hilarious though. Adrian is such a good person, sometimes she wonders how on earth she even deserves to be his friend. Not that she's an awful person, she knows she's objectively good. But Adrian's just so sweet and funny and innocent. She just wonders who let him out of his cage and into the mess of the real world. At the same time, she's so glad that they did because his light shouldn't be locked up. One of the best things that has come from their nonstop texting is that she started to warm up to him as best friends. Not that she didn't want to be friends with him before. The issue is that her crush on him clouds any attempt at just being normal friends. But with so many online interactions where she's not looking right at his face and freaking out and therefore isn't looking right at his face and freaking out, she isn't scared to be herself or say some teasing jab that she'd say to Nino, for example. It makes her in real life conversations feel a lot more normal. She's tripping over her words a lot less, although it's not totally gone. But it has become a little joke between the two of them. Man, this kid in my gym class trips more than even you do. I think you two should be friends, and then you'll both feel better. Marinette scoffs at the text and tucks her phone back in her pocket. Sometimes Adrian just calls her out a little bit too hard that she can't even speak. Adrian? Alia says with a teasing smile on her face. Marinette blushes and rolls her eyes, but she doesn't deny anything. It only serves to make Alia's smile grow into a cheeky smirk. And that is the line for Marinette. She turns away from Alia. Not that that'll make a difference. Alia is her best friend and knows her inside and out. Come on, you have to admit that he is texting you and talking to you way too much to be considered just platonic. The brown-haired girl says with a pull in her voice. You can't keep acting like this. He definitely likes you too, Alia points out. Me and Nino text a lot, and I think I'd rather die than even go on one date with him, Marinette says with a raised eyebrow. Alia hums and shrugs. And I could not disagree more on that, Alia says with a sigh. It's Marinette's turn to smirk at her friend. Alia and Nino have been a thing for a while now, but they weren't yet official. But it is well known enough around the school that no boys even tried to ask Alia to homecoming. They all knew she just turned them down, so they didn't bother. Alia and Nino have just always been low-key people. Labels didn't matter much to them so long as it weren't job titles or friends, so why did they need a label on them? It's been ongoing for 2 years now, and they're just as happy as Milan and Ivan, who were sure to make things as clear as possible as soon as possible. But you know that's different. You've known Nino even before you could do math. Adrian is way too new to be some new bestie and leave it to the resties type thing, Alia says. Marinette stares at her for a second before both girls burst out into laughter. I can't believe you just said that, Marinette chokes, but Alia just shrugs as she tries to maintain her breathing. Dude, I just saw a kid on the street with a backpack of the exact Same stuffed animal I used to have back home. I'll send you a picture later, because it's crazy, because I didn't even know other people knew about him. Marinette replies quickly to the other texts, much to Ollie's amusement. See, the brown-haired girl says, definitely not just platonic. Whatever he said, I'm pretty sure it could wait for tomorrow, or the next time he sees you. That's what I do whenever I see a cute guy you might like to meet. But he doesn't. He doesn't want to wait, not when it comes to you, she says. Marinette stays quiet because she knows Ollie is right. Especially since she knows that they have been planning to go gift shopping for their friend group winter exchange next Friday. Whatever she and Adrian are right now, it has to be some kind of limbo between friendship and relationship. It's not as defined as Ollie and Nino, but it's definitely not just little flirting or teasing here and there. She knows it, even if she tries to ignore it so she can just focus on maintaining things in her life and not freaking out over everything that he does. He probably knows too. And if he doesn't, she'd seriously rather just kiss him with no warning and just let him into the loop that way. You guys need to have a talk, Ollie advises. Even me and Nino had a talk, and you know that we don't normally do that. Marinette nods, knowing Ollie is only offering her best advice. I'll talk to him. Wow, I was the queen of stuffed animals, and I've never even seen that. I know. See why I was so surprised when I saw someone with an entire backpack? Man, I would have wanted one as a kid. Do you still want it now that you know it exists? Would it be bad if I said yes? Not at all. Then I know what I want for my next birthday gift to be. Marinette laughs to herself, the sound echoing in her empty room that doesn't feel so big and empty right now. The conversation with Adrian always makes her feel so warm and like there's someone there, right there with her. She lays her phone on her chest, letting the quick vibrations run through her as she hears Adrian's replying, though she doesn't know what they say just yet. There's a part of her that's sure that if this is all they are, even if they never get to the levels that Milan and Ivan, or Ollie and Nino, or anyone else who's ever dated, even if they don't get to that point, she'd be okay with that. Because these little conversations, it can be enough.